everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome back to the channel and a new Crusader Kings 3 guide. Now, I'm not quite sure how long this one's going to go. Probably not as long as that unique buildings guide. That I want to thank everybody again for all the views, likes, and comments. If we can get a whole bunch of likes on this one as well, greatly appreciated because it really helps the channel grow. So, grow even, not grow. So the focus of this one is going to be economics, and how to make money in CK3, especially knowing that, well, we don't have a trade mechanic in the game yet. Now, once there is an if please let there be a trade mechanic one day, but if there is a trade mechanic that does get introduced to CK3, obviously I'll have to revise either this one or do a separate guide just on trade. But for now, this is kind of what we have. Now, as far as income goes, there's not a lot you can really say. I mean, when you look at here, the main areas of income are your, hold on, lock that in, domain and vassal taxes. Now, domains, obviously your domain taxes, how much it generates, and then vassal taxes, how much your vassals give you financially. Now, overall, vassals don't give you as much money as you would in your own holdings. So for this example, I just took Bohemia just because. Now we can see here where the income is coming from the direct holdings of our character, versus if we go somewhere else, like here, you know, that's this person. But if we now go back to our guy and scroll in, you can see here the different type of income. You can see 1.9 comes from Prague and taxes, 4.3 from Jaslav, maybe that's how it's pronounced. And everything comes together at a 9.8 total, and then vassal taxes on top of that. You can alter how much money comes in from your vassals. I mean, if we look at here, the tax, this is how much in taxes this person contributes at 1.63. Now you can go in and modify the feudal contract, and here you can pump up the feudal taxes and how much money that brings in. You can see here, taking from normal to high, it's not a huge bump, and they kind of hate you. The key thing here is you need either a strong hook. Hooks always help, because if you go high and you use a hook, then there won't be stress, there won't be tyranny. Well, there may still be stress, but there won't be tyranny, depending on your character. They won't hate you or anything like that. So that's one way to go about that. And the other thing is to grant certain things. Like one that I like is War Declaration. You grant that, and you can see right away that the negative opinion modifier is modified a little bit more in your favor. And the tyranny is gone. You tick that off and boom, tyranny. So your subjects lose 20 opinion of you. So this is really a route you can go if you've got a great relationship with your vassals and some hooks, The War Declaration, the reason why this is one that I like is because that means sometimes they will declare war outside of your territory and gain territory for you. So it's not necessarily a bad one. I've done it before to test it. It's helped out. But the best way to increase your income in your county is the way income gets mostly brought in, and that's also through your buildings. Now you can see here in Czeslaw, we also have a mine. There are certain territories that have mines. This one's great because this mine here brings in a +3 for the holding, and holding taxes for the whole county go up by 10%. And since you are the holder of that holding, that all goes straight to you. Each time you invest in, let's go to Prague, construct a new building. You can see hill farms, it'll cost you 100, but it bumps up your taxes by 0.3 per month. Now, if you're going to invest in developing your counties and your holdings, click on preview, go all the way to the end, and this shows you where the max benefits are. This gives you a great way to then decide where you want to invest, what you want to develop. Always develop towards the end goal. Here you've got hill forts, you go all the way to the end. It gives you a nice advantage here, but it won't give you money. I do like to invest in the financial investments, so say marketplaces here, guild halls, construct a new building, say farms and fields. Preview, all the way to the end. The grain silos gives you plus 2.6 per month, and holding taxes go up as well, supply limit and so on. I like putting the financial buildings in the city holdings. Now you can also put some in your castle holdings, but here I'm a big fan of developing this to make sure you've got a castle that's going to be hard to take. So city holdings, very good. You have here another castle holding, another city holding, and you even have a slot here where you construct a new one, and you could construct a new city here as well. Right now we're just missing the money, but you could do that as well, and that way you can become a true financial powerhouse. One area I never invest in developing is actually any type of temple holding, because that tends to be done by the bishop, and I've tested it. They kind of do a pretty good job, actually. And speaking of how you can accelerate this, I've done some testing, and when I look at my, the council, here, your steward. Key thing here is to get a very good steward. You click on the stewardship skill and assign someone. Everyone's pretty much the same here. Now you can collect taxes, which brings in a little bit of extra money, or you can increase development in county. So let's click Prague. Now you can see 0.5 gold less per month came in versus if we collect taxes, it's 0.5 higher. I personally believe now that investing in development, and I've tested this, is much more beneficial to gaining more money versus collecting taxes. Collecting taxes is great if you just want to hoard in a bunch, or once you've developed your counties, your holdings to the max, then collect taxes. You get that bump, you're already getting a lot of taxes. But to get to that point, I think it's way more important to invest in your development. Now, along those lines, you've got your own attributes or stats that are important. Stewardship is the key one here. So if you're picking your lifestyle, if you just want to go money, you go stewardship. And wealth focus is a great one if you're trying to predominantly bring in money. Your monthly income gets plus 10%. Stewardship experience 25, but I prefer domain focus. This gives your stewardship a +3, and then you can go down these different areas depending on what you like. Architect to me is one of the most important ones right off the bat because it helps you with development, and then you can kind of pick whichever way you want to go. Avaricious is nice, it brings you some extra money, and then administrator, but architect is the one I would go for first. County development. Developing your holdings, in my opinion, is the most important thing to do. Now, there are special buildings. So most buildings bring, or not most, let me rephrase that. There are many buildings that bring in money. But there are also specific economic buildings. There are also economic buildings with military bonuses. But there are specific economic buildings that you can build down the train. And down the train, trail, path, whatever. Whichever way you want to develop. And it really depends on the terrain you're in, and that will dictate what you're able to construct. So you've got desert agriculture, brings in money, farms and fields, then forestries, hill farms, manor houses, quarries, trade port, and wetland farms. And again, this will depend on the terrain that you're currently in. Now, another way of making money is through mining. Now, mines are historical buildings that have 4 levels each. Constructing or upgrading a mine takes 5 years. So a mining settlement requires 400 gold and the crop rotation innovation. Upgrading to mine requires 500 gold and the manorialism innovation. Upgrading to large mine is 600 gold, and the windmills innovation, upgrading to a mining complex, costs 700 gold, and the cranes innovation. Now, there are a few mines that I need to mention here. We've got a mine in Göttingen, then in Dallabergslagen, Cagliari, Innsbruck, Vengipura, Trentin. Then you've got them in Niani, Bamberg, Bore, and Chalkidike. Now, what we're going to talk about here as this an example is, of course, in Czeslaw here in Bohemia. That's why Bohemia is a great place to play and make money and play kind of a tall game. Just focus just on development and money. You can become quite rich. Now, as an example, what you get at the different levels. At level 1, you can see here you get a +3 per month for the holding and the county. You get a holding tax of +10%, development growth +5. If you go up to the mine, you can see here, now you're getting 5 per month, plus a holding tax of 15% for the county, development growth +10%. Level 3, the large mine, now you're getting 7 gold per month, 20% county tax increase, and development growth +15%. And then the final one, the mining complex, now you're getting 9 gold per month plus 25% in taxes for the entire county. So if you have mines, you can make a ton of money. So that is something when you're expanding, keep an eye on and see if you can find where the mines are and then expand accordingly. Now, of course, it's not just about making money, it's also about spending less money. Now, I'm not a fan of hoarding cash. If you're going to hoard cash, the only time I really believe hoarding cash is worth it is if you know you're going to go to war pretty soon and you just want a lot of money in case things go south, you want to bring in some mercenaries, you just feel like really quick you need to invest in your military. Other than that, this number right here, your monthly income, getting that as high as possible is great because that'll help you overcome a lot of hardship. That way, if you go to war, you lose a war, which may have happened to somebody here at some point, you can recover from the financial fallout of a lost war or any type of financial hardship that may strike at your lands, because you will get that money back really, really, really quickly. Now, the easiest way to save money is, of course, in the military. We've talked about that. And the key one here is the unraised upkeep. Now, all soldiers, also levies, cost money once they're raised because you have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to arm them. So obviously they're going to cost money, but levies cost nothing when unraised. Men-at-arms all cost money when they are unraised and fully raised. Unraised, you can see the cost listed here, and then it accrues down at the bottom here. So if you have less men-at-arms or cheaper units, you're going to save money. But the nice thing is once you're getting this cranked up here really nicely, then it's not that big of an issue. You can afford to have a large unraised army. Now granted, once you raise them, they're going to eat at your treasury massively. So make sure it's a good balancing act there to figure out where you get finances from. And then, of course, there are other things you can do financially. You win a war, you have prisoners, you ransom them. That's a great way to make some money. And you can ask your head of faith for money as well within a certain given point in time. That's another great way to bring in some cash. I've been known to do that a few times as a Catholic. And so that definitely helps to bring in some extra cash that way as well. But those are all things that you can't necessarily calculate. You can't depend upon that. The other way you can make money, of course, is through raiding or looting a town if you're in war. I showed that in the military guide. But if we look, let's go over here. You can see the loot is 20 gold there. If we go to here, the loot is 9 gold. So like I talked about in the military guide for warfare, if you're raiding or looting, that's how you can pick your targets to bring in some cash there. So if you are tribal, if you're playing as the Mongols, or possibly the Vikings. That could be a staple part of your economy, a raiding economy, beyond just the development internally within your holdings. So you can do a holding economy, a raiding, and a warfare economy as well. Just remember, you still have to raise the armies, so there is some back and forth there as well. But it is a great way to make some money, especially if you're, a Viking in Scandinavia, to say, hey, we're going to do a lot of raiding, we're going to invest in that, and then we're going to invest in the development of our holdings as well. And that's a great way to build a strong economy there as well. So this was a little bit of a shorter guide, but I hope you still found it very, very helpful. Finances are always one of those things. As long as we don't have a trade mechanic in CK3, it just kind of becomes, a thing you somehow have to manage. Development over collecting taxes, investing in stewardship traits. The other thing you can do before I leave here, if you go to your council and you have a good managed domain wife, have her help you manage the domain. That bumps up your stewardship as well. And see, we're already at 15. We started at, I believe, 12. So now we've got a nice bump there as well. So this guy's actually good martially and now as a steward. So you're bringing in some good money and you can fight some wars as well. So I hope that helped you. If it did, please hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, how you have found the best ways to make money. Until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy, and I will talk to you soon.